Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good. Oh man, what's wrong with my camera? The camera's not working, guys. We gotta fix that. What's wrong with that? That's a little odd. Oh, and you know what? I didn't even turn on my lights. I'm so dumb. I must be super off today. Well, you know what? It's okay, because what do we got going on today here? All right, there we go. That's good. So I want to come over. Let me try something here real quick. If I come over here and I do that. No, let's make it black. Yeah. Okay. So, what are the main things we got going on today? Huh? So today is options expiration, and that's going to be the pretty dominant theme that you're going to see today. There is a lot of gamma to expire, and it's like the end of the year stuff, right? I get to that in a second. Well, I put that one's down here, right? End of year rally. Okay. And then we also got end of week currency flows. Okay, so because a lot of stuff happened with all of the central banks and everything, you're seeing a lot of currencies go back and forth, and the banks are going to have to move the currencies back to where they like to be for the weekend. So there's going to be a lot of flow there for that, which might affect us. I don't think that we've really got any big news. Let me just double check here. Yeah. My gosh, freaking financial juice, this little siren thing. We do have a Fed speaker today. When is the Fed speaker? Waller at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So I just add that up here. Waller. All right. Well, I think I can come up with a better way to show this, but hey, we'll work on it. But those are the things that we're looking at today. Overall, I'm not looking to do a whole lot of trading. And let's go to some of the charts here. You can see the treasuries making another move up. So it really is looking to me like shorts have just like completely capitulated off of this move. I'm not entirely sure that it's justified. I really like, especially from this CPI number right here. Like if they start getting above 131.16, that's like, they're wrong. I'm sorry. They're wrong. I don't believe them. That CPI number was hot and we need to go lower. Okay. Coming to the ES, you can see that, yesterday, not so hot. I mean, we're still higher than we were on the Fed and everything, but now in the overnight action, we're kind of going down too. So, we've had some weakness here in December. We'll come back over to here. This week was pretty ugly, and we were just kind of wondering if maybe we were just going to, shrug it all off. But this weakness seems to be a little bit more persistent than that. Coming over to oil. Oil still looks okay, but they're within the range, kind of pushed up above 72 at points, but, coming back. That's okay. Natural gas actually lower. That is good for the European economy, though. Okay. We are going to be a little, oh my gosh. Holy crap. My microphone just came loose. All right, there we go. I didn't tighten it tight enough. Gold just took off yesterday and is extending in the overnight action and was just up above that 1800 level again. So we could make a run up at these highs here maybe in the next few weeks. That would be pretty cool. What about silver? silver going too, but yeah, silver has been a little bit more heavy than the gold. That could change. If the retail, I'm telling you, man, if the retail traders get a hold of silver, it's going to be a true insanity. Okay. And Kappa recovering from those lows, going back into the range, coming over to some of our currencies. Bitcoin retracing that move from the FOMC meeting, which I think is appropriate. They're not in a very good spot for if somebody wants to create another ignition event over the weekend and try and stop people out. That could be pretty devastating. And then you got the dollar weaker. I mean, hey, anything above 95 is still pretty crazy strong, relatively speaking, right? But we're now below 96. So that's kind of where we're at. And again, no news. No real news today. Waller is going to be there speaking later today. But I'm not going to be around for that one. Also, my wife has to do a trip this weekend, so she's leaving here this morning. So I'm probably going to have to step out and take care of the kids. So when that happens, probably what I will do is I will just leave the stream going so that we can watch the flows, but not really going to do much. All right. Now, as for my 10-year trade here, I think, well, how far down is it? I could consider taking some contracts here. Well, let's just wait and see what kind of flows we end up getting in this location, okay? Because again, we could see some currency flows. Although I don't know. Are those currency flows going to mean the 6J moving down? Probably not. Probably not. All right. So let us see. So first of all, let me fix my microphone so that it's kind of more where I like it again. There we go. Okay, so how should the pulled prices indicator be interpreted? There are times when the bit gets pulled, but price moves up. I understand the new traders can always come in and fill the pulled orders. Okay, so first of all, make sure that you're using it on a relatively thick instrument, right? Like if there's a pulled price in the ES, that's where I use it, then it can potentially be telling you something. If you're seeing it on the NQ, you're probably going to see that all over the place. So, but in ES, the way that I would interpret it is that is an area of potentially low liquidity. Okay. Well, which means that it usually ends up becoming a magnet. Although I wouldn't even call it a magnet. It's more like gravity, right? It's a little hole that they'll fall back into over and over again. Yeah, don't put it on the MES itself. Well, it could be interesting on the MES itself, but put it on the ES, yeah. Put it on the ES itself, and then there's actually a way. There's you can set it to make a sound, so you guys will hear a sound and go choo choo choo. I don't know. Did I put the sound out there? I think I put the sound on the website too. I'm gonna need to fix that. I need to my project next week. I've been doing some stuff. You know what, man? I did this statistics book, and I've done one chapter, and then I got to the end of the chapter. Let me show you here. Okay, so the first chapter is just basic probability concepts. Okay, and when I get to the end of this chapter, okay. So then there's a chapter summary, and then there's problems. So do you see how many problems there are? There's and that's just like one page. I mean, it was a big chapter, but there's like at 5 pages of problems. It's crazy. So like I thought, oh, let's see how far we can get through this book on during our break. Yeah, we're gonna get through like one chapter probably through by the end of the break. It's called Fundamentals of Applied Probability and Random Processes. So it's a math book. Anyways, I mean it's like a textbook that if I was to go through a whole semester of school, it would take me some time to get through. So yeah, I just I kind of bit off a little bit more than I should. But my wife keeps asking me to like watch the child and do all this. So I have not been getting a whole lot of work done. Yesterday, I spent some time looking at Edge Pro X, trying to see what we could do with their API to see if maybe we could get some of our indicators over there. But it looks like I can't. It looks like they don't quite have everything that we would need to do the level 2 stuff. So this is what I did yesterday. But the project for next week is definitely going to be cleaning the indicators up a little bit. And we already talked about this a little bit, Gus, because one of the things that I got going on here, if I come in and I make a new chart, I'll make a new chart so that we can show you guys. And let's do it on the ZN because I think that these things work really, really well in the treasuries. And then I come in and we add our indicators. So we've got like all of these level 2 changes sorts of things. So right here you see how I have a plot that's like stacking, pulling, the total, the difference, etc., etc., etc. Right? I think that I need to change that because remember I was telling you guys that like a great way to think of it is to look at the Santa Fe model, and the Santa Fe model says there's limit orders adding, there's limit orders canceling, and there's market orders. So shouldn't we have indicators for those 3 forces instead of having one that like combines them and stuff like that? So I think what I should do is I should just split this out, right? So that will actually probably give us a more indicators than normal. And will not actually add, what the heck? There's like a fly in here or something I can see in the corner of my eye. Anyways, there'll be more indicators, even though we're not like significantly increasing the features. But it should be easier for you guys conceptually to figure out what indicators you want to put on and read what's going on, right? And it will match up better with some of the videos that we're making. Oh, Fred, yeah, I was thinking about you when you came live. Yeah, well, I'm here every day, my friend. Anyways, and then the other thing that I really want to do is I want to make it so that you guys can just purchase it one time. Because I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know, you tell me, Gus, but I'm thinking that we should set the indicator package up to be a one-time deal, and that subscriptions should be more about like setting up the plan for the day. You know, like maybe what we just did there at the beginning, where we're trying to walk through what our potential flows that we could see today, is something that we could do in like a subscriber only stream right at the beginning, and then, you know what I mean? Yeah, you've been here every day, Alfred. Oh, yes, that's right. You changed your name. Gus says he likes the one-time deal too. You see, I really thought you guys would appreciate the subscription, but I guess, you know, we're the long-term commitment of a subscription was a bit more than I anticipated. Yeah. So we'll see. I want to make a better way to show like what is the to do like slideshow sorts of stuff on you know, maybe I just need to go and make a Google slide and just make it full screen and do it that way. That might be a great way to do it. And then the other thing that I want to do is, like these stats, those should be included in it. Some of these stats stuff I put on Futures.io. That's why I'm not really showing them. And it's kind of complicated because these ones are all like I just I made one and I put it in there, and so they're not very clean. But maybe I should go and clean up the stats, and then you can go and you can get them all, even though it's already out there, because not everybody has them. I also want to spend a little bit more time. Like, I feel like we should do more with volatility projections of sorts, So let me show you something. If I go back and I make these like a 5-minute bar, okay, and then I come in and I do a Bollinger Bands. Let's see here. Let's do lizard indicators, deviation. Oh, what did they call it? Multi-deviation bands. There you go. Okay. But I make the mid band be 1. Okay. And I got to go and change a couple of things about the indicator because it like repaints everything and stuff. So no channel flooding, no paint bars. Okay. Now we should just get these lines. Yes, sir. And let's change the lines to be something a little bit easier for you to see. Is it these ones? I'll just make them both cyan. Or all 3 of them cyan. Is that? There we go. Okay. All right. So now that I've got a mid band, that's just an SMA. Well, the SMA is on the top. Okay, but anyways, now the deviation bands are basically just like range bands. Oh, actually, the other thing is, if I come in here, so what if I change this to, I don't think I did this before. What if I did this to range? Okay, I'd have to change it a little bit. Because I want the deviation to be based on range, but I want the midband to still be SMA. Doesn't look like I can actually do that. I thought I had it the other day though. Well, that's that sort of thing. I'm just realizing, like a Bollinger Band, like a statistical sort of a thing like that, as it moves, this doesn't really make sense. Well, so what makes more sense though is like, what is the range of the bar, and when the range of that bar goes outside of the standard deviation, is it likely to come back in that sort of a thing? And I think that would be a more useful thing, because but basically what we need to get at is better ways of determining how far the market might move in the next X minutes or whatever the deal is. So would really like to do more work on that. So that's the other thing that I want to do. But making it a one-time deal, changing some of the indicator names so that it's a little bit more of a system. Why not just use ATR? Well, I was using, maybe I did it with ATR. I don't recall. I mean, there's problems with ATR though, right? Like the ATR tick is great, but it needs to be more of a needs to be more of a distribution sort of based thing. it needs to be not just ATR, but deviation of ATR, right? Well, it's let me put it this way. These kinds of distributions have very high kurtosis and very fat tails, so we need different kinds of statistical tools to be able to analyze them, and I don't understand those tools yet. So that's kind of a part of why I'm reading that book. But I think if I can get it, so if I can set up a thing where you do the PayPal and you put your machine ID in when you purchase the indicator and everything, I think that would work better for a lot more people. Well, Treasury's kind of moving down a little bit. I don't really see why they were up overnight. Maybe, yeah, I don't know where else we would see what kind of news would have pushed that, because I didn't really see any overnight news. How much money do we need to trade one lot of E-mini ES and micro ES? So I believe that they'll let you do it for $50. But if I was going to start out, I would probably start with $1,000 to $2,000, and with the understanding that you might blow through that quickly if you're brand new. If you're just starting out, what you should do is you should start a small account, but not trade it. Just trade sim. Like whatever the minimum that they require. I guess I will. Let's change it. I will take a fill. So whatever the minimum account balance that they want, you go and get that, but then just trade it sim. Because I'm just telling you, if you have just started trading, you're gonna lose money. For the first, frankly, few years, you're gonna lose money. Good morning. Missed yesterday's action. Why do you think the market reversed yesterday? Was it a change of heart from Wednesday, or no? I don't. I'm not so sure that there was very much informational content in yesterday's action. I think that they, there's a lot of gamma set to expire tomorrow, and that probably a lot of the action is based on that. They did extend quite a bit lower, right? Like, they were up at 4,700, and I was saying, well, they're probably going to get stuck to 4,700, but there's also 4,600. So I'd say pretty good chance that we're going to settle somewhere close to those. Yeah, if your first trade is a loss, yeah. Well, if you only put $50 in, of course. But I've been surprised at the number of Indians that tend to come into the channel. I also there's I've also been sent messages from people pretending to be Indians for some reason. Like, oh, I'm not gonna go into it. There's people out there that pretend to be Indian, and I know that they're not. Just trying to do some sort of like social engineering hack sort of a thing. AMP futures, yeah, AMP futures would be fine. AMP futures is probably the most common one that people here use. I mean, if you've never traded futures at all, then of course start a demo first. Just realize they only give you the demo for 2 weeks. And all of us have gone through that period where like, you get a demo, you're done with the demo, and then you get a new email address and you get a new demo, and you do that until they ban your IP. Yeah. No, I know you're genuinely an Indian. So like the thing is when I worked for Goldman Sachs, there's a lot of Indians at Goldman Sachs, man. Oh, they recruit very heavily in the Indian market. And they have a pretty big office in there too. So I worked with them a lot, and I have a pretty good idea of what the Indian culture, I guess, right? So when people are faking it, I can tell. So for you, I knew, just from the name and everything, knew the new email address. It really is, like, seriously. I did it like 10 times before they like banned my IP. And I always kind of wonder, like, how did they figure that out? So they must be going through and being like, okay, is there an IP address that shows up over and over again beyond the 2 weeks? And then we just banned that IP address or something. But that's why it's like, you just put $500 into an account, and that'll last you 20 months. Only trade sim. Because really, with the amount of risk that we're taking on, I really think that that's like when I start looking into it, it's like, okay, there's 2 sides to this. One is taking the appropriate risk, and one is actually being able to predict the order flows. So if we're able to predict the order flows like 50% of the time, that's pretty good. Then we need to know like when to take our profits and stuff. Have you heard of the debt spread and credit spread ratio? I'm not 100% sure what you refer to by that. Oh, you work for a firm, basically? Oh, okay. The thing that sucked when the bank that I worked at, they, you couldn't trade. They had a lot of rules about that. You could only have an account at their approved broker Fidelity, and you could only, you had to hold positions a minimum of 1 month, and yeah. I'm a little surprised, just kind of looking here at the 10-year, how little trade we're getting. Hmm. UK study warns of elevated reinfection risk, but notes very limited data on hospitalizations. There is at present no evidence that the Omicron coronavirus variant is any less severe than the Delta strain, according to early findings from researchers at the Imperial College of London. I don't trust those guys because they were wrong the first time around. Which also highlights the elevated risk of reinfection posed by Omicron and the need for booster shots to combat it. Okay, so do we need to add Omicron risk flows to our equation here? Well, I tell you what, if I get that at 4, I don't think that I should be adding risk in that situation. So, oh, you're doing a lot of option stuff. Yeah. Well, I the options thing is really interesting because I think of it as like, what statistical edges tend to get arbitraged out of the market. So finding a statistical edge is very, very difficult. But in options, there's so many different options and strikes and everything that it's a lot easier to find those inefficiencies because there's a lot of people submitting orders, that just aren't in line. So, I think that if you wanted to do kind of a more of a statistical, technical, automated trading kind of approach, that it probably makes more sense to be going into the options game. And when you look at the people that are really making money from like market making and everything, are they doing it in futures? No, they're doing it in options. Like they're using options and they're using the futures to hedge their options trades. Which does kind of tell you something, right? Well, like where the options do have a significant impact on us. I don't know why I had like a total brain fart there, but yeah. So the way that you can tell that I'm in a trade or not is you'll see these numbers in the order column that will tell you how much it's making or losing at any one individual price. So I still have this sim trade on the 10-year from after the Federal Reserve meeting that I intend on keeping on until into next year. So one of the things that I've been thinking about is like the treasuries, they've moved up since the Federal Reserve meeting. Now it's really kind of interesting because was the Federal Reserve dovish? Well, given the range of expectations, the possibilities that you could have about what the Federal Reserve was going to do on Wednesday, what they did was probably the most hawkish out of those possibilities. Okay. But at the same time, just realize real yields are negative, right? Inflation is like 5%, okay? And we're still holding off and aren't going to raise rates until maybe June, Is that actually that hawkish? It really isn't, is it? So then we come back here to the markets and we say, okay, the treasury market has moved up. Does that reflect some informational content about what the market thinks about the Federal Reserve? Well, if it does, I can't really sort out what it is beyond they think that there's going to be a policy mistake. They think that there's going to be economic weakness that the Federal Reserve doesn't see. Okay. But the other thing that I see is that like there was a lot of people didn't want to trade and were kind of holding their risk until that event. And there's a lot of options expiring this weekend. So it may well be the case that this action that we've seen in the treasuries has no informational content and is maybe a good spot to get short. I don't know. But that's just kind of what we got to look at here. Now, one has to wonder where the 10-year would want to be going to given the options. I'm watching because Futures Trader had a baby recently, and I'm just he hasn't been doing his stream which for that first week, yeah, you might want to. Well, I never took a week off, did I? I did have people cover for me though. I tell you what, the those first few months, like the first like 9 months of a newborn's life, was the easy part for me. You know what I mean? Like once it could walk around, that's when you had, when it got hard. Okay, well, I'm not liking this. The pretty big order, is that a spoof just trying to force some up, or is it going to run from that? Well, there's a really big order up at 13.5 too, so. But I'm thinking here that big order is possibly a good reason. Well, it's fairly early on. Man, actually, they could just be stirring the pot. So let's give it a little bit of time here, okay? Commodities are volatile. Oil and gold are mostly volatile. Yeah. The problem that I think we have dealing with is understanding when the volatility is increasing and being able to deal with it. Because I feel like that our it's like it's not just volatility of price, it's like volatility of order flow. You get what I mean? And how do you represent that the orders are coming in, that it's becoming quite random order flow, and because I just come in and I'll just be like, okay, it's at this price, I guess I'll take it here. But like when it's all over the place, it's like, where do you actually take it from? We need to do more research on dealing with volatility on short-term basis. So what are we seeing here, by the way? I'm not really seeing a super big change in the 6J. I did see gold is moving around, so they made an attempt at going back to 1800 and came up just a little bit short, and now it's bouncing. Same with oil. It's kind of bouncing here. The big order that we had disappeared. By the way, let's come in here and add our market depth tape back in, because I think that I canceled one on accident, or I closed one on accident. So I want this one, and I want it to be like I want it to be more than 2,000, I think. Okay, let's try that. That's what you've been trying to work with, the rate of trades. Yeah, it's just like, it's such a complicated thing, right? Because there's three different types of orders and everything. We have found that just looking at the rate of level 2 actions as a whole, that there are some interesting statistical things with that, right? But I think that we need to combine it with it's not just about how much is happening, but how contradictory it is. Like when you're getting a lot of orders, but they're like equal to each other and stuff. Like, and they have to be over a relatively large period of time to show that there's it's going to lead to higher volatility. And then based on the orders and everything, what is the realized volatility likely to be? Well, nope. That didn't work out the way it should have. Let's reset things here. Are we getting steepening again? Yeah, I only trade on the CME. At what point would I cut my loss? I'm not really very consistent about it because it kind of depends on the range and everything, right? On this one up here in the 10-year, we've decided to give it 10,000. We've decided to give it 10,000 worth of risk. So I think that gives us enough room to swing this for a couple of months, or at least until the end of the contract, and in the hopes that the interest rates do rise. On this one, these ones are usually, anywhere from $5 to $20 based on the situation. And this is a situation, this market is relatively tight, so we don't really need to give it a whole lot of room, do we? It's being a little difficult on me here, though. I've been playing that wrong. We're getting a little bit more volume in the micros here, though. So there's that. I've been seeing stuff about school threats on TikTok, but I don't actually know what they're talking about. Okay, but apparently one of my schools has declared a virtual learning day because of recent threats circulating across TikTok. So, I don't know. Okay. So, the E-mini running a little bit of stops there at their lows. Nothing else seems to be reacting. Okay, Treasuries took a little step down there. It's kind of been like that in this range, though. Okay. Burgess Everett on Twitter is reporting Senate Democrats are planning a special caucus meeting at 12:45 p.m. today, per sources, lots to talk about Build Back Better, elections reform, and nominee battle with Republicans. Can you take an oil sim trade? Sure. For fun? Well, all I can do is just be like, okay. Maybe not. it's a hard call in oil at the moment because they kind of are acting like they want to break out. But I'm not really adjusted to oil yet. Not really adjusted to oil yet, and it could tick back to 71.15, right? Okay, well, the treasuries are coming back down there quite a bit. Bank of England. The Bank of, it's interesting to me. There hasn't been as much commentary about the Bank of England raising rates as much as I would have thought. Nobody's really talking about that. When you look at like all of the central bank actions, they're all basically tapering. They want to be tapered by March. They're all doing the same thing this Federal Reserve is doing. Okay, so we're getting a real. I want to say that we're getting like a really strong flow here in the Treasury, but like let's just remember how this played, right? There was a pretty big order, showed kind of pushing them up. It just disappeared, and now since then we've kind of been coming back down. Now, did it take a lot of volume for us to do that and come back down? Not really. Are we seeing major currency flows off of this? Not really. Maybe the 6J is coming down like a tick or two. So this was just kind of like bids got out of the way. But the way that it played out is a little ominous. And like the timing of it, having a spoof at that time of day is kind of a little sketchy. Not sketchy, like we talked about this in the video, right? It's earlier in the session, so that's more likely to be somebody trying to like stir up some liquidity for themselves. Okay. So 07 has been a spot before, and it is a spot again in the 10-year, it appears. And they push again. So here's where I'm talking about like the volatility and everything else like that is like, okay, should I add a contract in the 10-year? Sure seems like a pretty strong downtrend. It sure seems like I've got it. Right. So how far can I push this? Or is it that if I really took another contract right here that they're just going to reverse back up to the highs? It's Friday. I tend to do worse on Fridays, so I'm a little... That kind of makes me a little weary about trying to add. There is a spot. Like, again, there is a spot at 07. Yeah, you can see it come back. You actually said right about Bitcoin is going down badly. Well, it's not too bad. Well, actually, it is kind of bad. You just got to remember that Bitcoin is not like in dire straits until they get below 4,600. When you get below 4,600, then I think all of the technical analysts will start panicking. You think they could go down to 40K? Oh man, if Bitcoin crashes, I hope it goes down so much more than that. I would, if Bitcoin crashed, I think that the optimal scenario for maximum carnage would be below 20K. So like once you get below 30 to 40K is where a lot of these really big guys that were like buying the dip and all bragging about it and everything start to be underwater, and they're going to be sweating hard because they put so much leverage on this thing, right? Wow. Turkey halts all stock trading as currency disintegrates, central bank powerless to halt collapse. Yeah, because you're stupid, man. So here's what's frustrating about a situation like that in Turkey is their leader out there has these ideas about monetary policy and economics that are just dumb. And so he will go and hire a central banker and say, do this. And then the central banker will do something else and he doesn't like it. So he gets rid of them. So now you've got this completely impotent central bank in charge over there in Turkey. Right. So now everything collapses. What is he going to turn around and he's going to say, oh, well, because the economy collapsed, that means that all of my economic ideas are wrong. That's not what he's going to say. He's going to say, you see, the IMF and all of the big banks, they didn't like what we were doing, so they intentionally crashed our economy. That's what he's going to say. It's like, it doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter what he said in the past. There's always some out to try and explain to the followers that they're doing the right thing and that they're just persecuted. What an awful deal for the people of Turkey. They deserve so much better. Turkey could be a very strong, influential country that could be doing a lot of good in the world, and because of their leader, it's really, you know what, the thing when I'm looking in politics, guys, here's my number one thing when I'm looking in politics. Avoid the really ideologically based people. Look for people that are results based, because these ideologically based people, when they're wrong, they just come up with these lies to try and convince themselves that they're still right. Those are the people that really do damage. Spot Gamma says 40K. Well, I think when I haven't run it in a few days. I kind of need to do that. I haven't been very good at posting my Bitcoin thoughts just because like stuff doesn't happen every day over there, unfortunately. I mean, I've had a chance to get 40 half. I don't know if I really want it. I'll give you a number here in a second. One rotten apple is enough to spoil the whole box. Well, I mean, they chose him. Something that's really interesting that I've seen again and again is when a leader gets elected, you will see discussion about it in the media like it's a bad thing. Like they don't say in the article, oh, this guy is really bad. Here are the policies that he wants and everything, and this is why he's a bad, it's like they're trying to tell you that he's bad for the country without like actually saying it or something. And I'll always be like, well, what exactly is the problem with this particular guy? And this was very much the case with Turkey. It was like they were really concerned that he had won the elections and everything. And I'm kind of like, well, but why? And then as time went on, then he started doing the crazy things. And I was like, oh, okay. They kind of doing the same thing in India too, right? So they were kind of like, they didn't like the guy who won the elections. And now It doesn't seem like India is like nearly as bad as Turkey, but they've had some problems over there recently too. Yeah, there's been some, how do we say, political instability. But I'm always kind of skeptical about it because they did this with Donald Trump too, and that was, I would think, completely undeserved. We just have to hack Elon's Twitter account and tweet about Dogecoin to make it scary. I tell you what, if you go and buy some garlic coin, so garlic coin right now is oscillating between 3 cents and 1 cent. Like, that's how low the liquidity in garlic coin is. The liquidity in garlic coin is really bad, right? So if you came into garlic coin and bought like $1,000 worth of garlic coin and then got somebody influential to tweet about it, that thing would skyrocket. I'm not recommending, I'm not trying to tell anybody that you should do that or anything. I'm just giving an example of like how easy to manipulate some of these cryptocurrency markets really are. Well, the ZB, well, all of the treasuries really seem to be trading this range here. If the pattern continues, then we might be able to see them go back to 09. Not many people like garlic. Well, here's the other crazy. Here's why I think garlic would be the best place to do it. Garlic coin has an extremely large community and social media reach that has not been realized. So like the size of the subreddit is gigantic compared to the activity in the coin. Basically what I think happened was everybody that was kind of FOMO, well, it felt like they had missed out in 2017. Everybody that felt like they had missed out in 2017 got into garlic coin and then kind of realized that they had just missed out and gave up on it. Right? But they're still subscribed to the subreddit. So like when garlic coin had its little run, it was crazy. But it only reached those guys in the subreddit, right? So if you're able to get garlic coin outside of that, right? You're able to get garlic coin to, like, if garlic coin showed up on CNBC, for instance, it would be such a massive rise. Like the potential there, like you look at the percentage that Shibu went, it would go so much further. It would go so much further. Like we're talking about something that could potentially go from like 3 cents to $300 in a matter of days if somebody was pulling that kind of manipulation. Now, I think the reason that they don't do it, the big downside of trying to manipulate garlic coin, is that it's not really on any exchanges, right? They've been unable to get it onto many exchanges. So there's like 3 exchanges that it's on, and they're pretty small exchanges. If garlic coin was on Coinbase, it would be like in total insanity. Because again, the social media reach potential, if it actually blew up, is really big, and because it has a low supply. Not a fan of Bitcoins. I look forward to fedcoin. Me too. I've been thinking about it, and as long as fedcoin has privacy features built into it, I am all aboard fedcoin. I'm gonna be, because none of the cryptocurrency people are gonna like it, right? I'm gonna be the fedcoin influencer. Show you how to build stuff on fedcoin and do cool things with fedcoin and all of those interesting uses of cryptocurrency that everybody's been talking about for the past 10 years and never actually do because it's too expensive or it just doesn't work. We're going to do them in fedcoin. I look forward to it. That's our 5-year plan. Our 5-year plan: become the top fedcoin influencer. You with me? How to build your social... Yeah. I'm going to have the highest socials... No, I don't think it's going to work like that. Like I said, they need to have privacy features in it. It's not going to be usable if there's not privacy features. That's probably why they're spending so much time looking at it. Like on one hand, like people say, like the government would like to be able to track everything, right? But it's not going to work if everybody can see all of the money in your wallet, right? Like the cultural and societal consequences of that would be really bad. So, okay, so just want to note that that last decline was pretty quick, and there was a decent amount of volume on it, but it was also a pretty slippery move, and you can see that the liquidity in the treasuries is still a little questionable because we have come back up here on almost nothing as well. Greg Z, first time checking in. Hey, welcome. How are you? There's a guy in the community named Matt Z. Now we got Craig Z. Matt's a broker. They definitely have no intentions to protect our privacy. Well, no, like, I don't think you get what I'm saying. Like, they might not 100% protect your privacy from the government itself, but they're going to protect your privacy from other people. You get what I mean? Imagine if you could go and find everybody that worked in your company and see what their paycheck was, right? That's a problem. So they're not going to make something where they can go and find your wallet and see every transaction that you've made. Get what I mean? So there's going to have to be some form of like Monero stuff going on. And I'm going to bet you that that's probably one of the primary reasons why they're spending so much time researching with MIT and all of that they don't just put it out already. Because when you look at China's coin, they don't do that. And nobody uses it. So you have to have the privacy of it, I think. But I guess that also kind of supposes some degree of centralization, because like the thing where I think this kind of technology really becomes useful to people is decentralized record keeping, right? Like, you go and you buy music on some website, so that you have the ability to watch. Okay, so here's the ES going, and they sold the treasuries a few. I'm gonna take a gamble here. Jeez, well, that was no good. I'm gonna got left behind for sure. That open looked bullish to me. I'm not really seeing it in cumulative delta yet, but that was pretty bullish open. And again, the treasuries like dropped 2 ticks right before they opened too. Anyways, you go buy music on a website, and then like that music service goes kaput, right? So now you don't have the music, you can't do it anymore. But if the record of you having that music was in a decentralized ledger, then the record of that transaction will always exist forever, right? And where I think it becomes even more critical is like, so for instance, you heard people talk about houses, like that houses would be a good one. You could create a non-fungible token for your house, and then when you sell the house, that token goes to somebody else, and now you have a record of everybody that's owned the house. And you could even build things into the contract so that like previous owner of the house gets like a portion of the profits when you sell it or something like that, right? You can do that sort of a thing. But the problem is that like ownership is kind of the way that we think about ownership and the way that ownership actually is are kind of two little different things, because we just think of you own something that's like it's in your possession, right? But the legal definition of ownership is that the government is going to use its power to enforce your ownership rights, right? If you come in and you try and enter my house without my permission, the government will arrest you for trespassing, right? That's the difference. Okay, so you could go and you could say you have ownership for something on the blockchain. Who cares? Why does the government have to honor that? But if it's on fedcoin, now all of a sudden you solve all of these problems. Like, okay, now you have something that the government is going to write laws to enforce ownership rights from ownership based on fedcoin. Now you have a place where all of this stuff can happen, and you know that it will be there forever, right? Because that's another problem, is you put something on the chain, like where are you going to go to get it, right? It's that sort of stuff. Anyways, what if your copyright, right? So people say, hey, it's really cool. You could like print a non-fungible token for your song. And then when people play the song, you get profits from it. Or when people sell the NFT for it, you get profits from it. And it's like, okay, why don't you just buy and sell the actual copyright rights? That's why Bitcoin and the rest will be banned. Potentially. I think, though, in my opinion, my estimation, I guess, they won't have to. I don't think that they'll have to. I think that what will happen is this. Fedcoin comes... Well, first of all, there's going to be a crash before Fedcoin happens. Okay? Fedcoin's far enough away. There's going to be a crash before that happens, almost certainly, right? So that's the first thing you gotta consider, is that with Tether out there and these guys basically using their corporate balance sheets to buy Bitcoin with margin, they could be setting a situation up where if there is another crash in Bitcoin, it could be particularly devastating and will probably have a very strong impact on people's opinion of Bitcoin, right? Did I make the case there? So first we got to see how the next crash affects the public's opinion of Bitcoin, especially if there's a Tether crash. That's the one that I'm really looking at, is like if Tether crashes, then what do people think? Because if Tether crashes, then we kind of got this thing where it's like this whole run has been based on Tether. So can Bitcoin ever actually truly rally again? I kind of have to wonder if Bitcoin would ever have been able to beat its Mt. Gox high if it was not for the fraud. Okay. So Bitcoin crashes, then Fedcoin comes along, and all of the use cases that people wanted to do, all of the future is here sort of stuff with cryptocurrencies. First of all, you got to realize cryptocurrency isn't everything. It might not be as transformative as people think, but let's just say best case scenario, everybody does all of those crazy things that they wanted to do with Fedcoin, right? Now what's the incentive to want to get into Bitcoin again? It's just to get away from the Federal Reserve, I guess. You know what I mean? So by the time that the Fed coin comes out, Bitcoin may not be as significant of a competitor. And at that point, it will really come down to how much crime and so forth is actually happening in Bitcoin, and whether or not the ecosystem can handle like Bitcoin being regulated, right? Like if they come in and they just regulate it, then that regulation may ask people in El Salvador if you know what, I have spent some time looking at what the people of El Salvador's opinion on Bitcoin is, and they are not too pleased with it, actually. So anyways, it will come down to like, what would the impact of complete regulation have on the Bitcoin space, you know? Because regulation could come in and really crush Bitcoin. Similarly, but if there's like the best case scenario for Bitcoin, like they regulate it and it becomes a really viable competitor to the digital dollar, which would be difficult because Bitcoin would have to get their act together. They would have to solve all the technical problems and stuff, right? But if they did all of that, then maybe the government would think about banning it, yeah. Okay, well, we had a pretty strong buy impulse on the open. That got washed out and they are selling now. The treasuries are responding to risk-off sentiment the most at the moment. Was that my second one? Yeah, it was. I did see, once again, some liquidity get added in here. Got to note that there's going to be like that 4,600 area in MES that might be kind of key. So, and they're getting pretty close to that, right? Actually, why not? Right there. So let's the other thing is the baby's probably going to wake up any second now, so I probably can't manage something like that over here. Okay. Well, that didn't last very long. I thought, okay, maybe they're going to buy it back up, and they just got dashed again. Opportunity to try and get short rates here is probably not very good at this spot. Could go higher there, but okay, 38. Oh, okay. Forex Live pointing out Bitcoin is looking vulnerable as the market moves towards the weekend. Oh, yeah. So I told you I was going to give you a number, didn't I? The number is 11,000. The number is 11,000. 11,000 would be like Bitcoin is grossly oversold. Does Ninja Trader 8 ever get bogged down for you? It behaves well. It does have memory leaks. If you open up the analyzer, yeah, the strategy analyzer in Bitcoin has some memory leaks. Three lots larger than 1K on the MES, really? The only big stuff I've seen here in the treasury was at 11.5. There was a big order that pulled. Definitely when we have as many instruments open as we do and we get a big move, it slows things down. Slows my machine down. Probably need a better processor. You get that 5700 for $300. That looks like an awesome deal. Okay. Yeah, that order at 13.5 has gotten larger, hasn't it? These micros all of a sudden are all over the place. Yes. Okay. Well, E-mini pretty volatile here. but actually not trading a huge range either. Like, I didn't get 10 points out of that. And it's recovering a little bit, and the treasuries are pushing back really hard as well. You can see that big order at 13.5, and you kind of have to wonder if they're going to get there. I don't know. Last time we saw a big order like that, far away, they didn't get to it, but that day there was other closer targets that they got. Yes, it's options expiration day. There's a lot of gamma expiring today. You gotta love seeing nothing but DOMs, so I'm glad you appreciate it. Most of these aren't. I'm not using all of them. I kind of wonder if it's really worth it to me to have the 5 and the 30 up if I'm not going to trade those ones. But same with, I do the sim over here. Why should I have the micros on it? And just do the sim on the full ES. Well, man, oil is getting creamed there, by the way. So last start trading without charts? Well, I really feel that retail traders spend too much time trying to find statistical, technical analysis based edges when there probably isn't a lot of edge like that out there, and the edge that is available isn't going to be very reliable. I think that it's going to be way easier for you to try and find informational inefficiencies in the market, right? Well, I have this remember this trade up here in the 10-year is like a long-term swing trade sim trade, right? Whereas what I'm trying to do here in the 10-year is a little bit more short-term. It doesn't seem to be working very well for me today, though. Like, I'm okay with one spot, 385 is a spot, but so far they haven't been extending up to that 13.5 area in the 10-year where there's the big order. And the E-mini is reversing. This trade here, okay, did it give it to me? Did not. It did. Okay. Eesh. It's pretty good by the dip there. I don't know. $30-year kind of pulled back there a little bit more than the others, by the way. But the 10-year is still kind of trying to hold it up like it wants it. Oh, there's a big order up there in the 30-year too as well, and we should probably point out. and really even kind of in the 5. So we'll see. It kind of looks like though that as the risk off sentiment abates a little bit in the ES, that the treasuries aren't moving as well. They're still up there, so I'd say it's actually pretty strong considering, but we just got to keep in mind that it seems like that the risk off flows are relatively dominant in the treasuries right now. Yeah, the ZN is sim money. 10YR is sometimes real money. If it says, if the top, you can't really see it, but there's like these letters and it says SE star star star, those are the sim accounts. But I prefer people to not focus on what the positions are. So I don't want you to like trying to follow my trades or anything like that. If you all start worrying about it too much, I might just hide it. Okay. So a little bit of pushback when they got back to the open. Treasuries look pretty comfortable up here at this high. I guess we could say that there's a liquidity hole here. It's not a super strong evidence in the level 2 of a liquidity hole, to be honest with you, though. Below 0200. Well, I can't see that far. I did turn it back down again. So that, well, we'll see. I'm looking at it. When I look at the chart, I'm like, well, they're definitely going to go and hit 4,600 now, right? But I got to remember, I'm only saying that for like purely just eyeing the chart and my own kind of like field technical analysis sort of a thing. So I don't know, man. Okay, is there a block? I still can't see it. It's a little bit too far away. But all I'm saying is there is going to be a ton of gamma expiring at 4,700 and at 4,600. So because we're ended up being closer to 4,600, I think that that's probably where they're going to try and push it to. There might be a little bit of an extension back below it, but then that might be a spot where they get stuck. Okay, Bitcoin fallen there. I said it's not dire straits until 4,600, but they're below 4,600 now. So I can't see like what those lows were over that weekend because I'm only looking at the futures chart, but looks like they could be extending below that. Oh, there's a 700 block. Okay. Got a lot of people watching today, by the way. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you give the video a like. Give a like or a sticker. That helps boost the video in the algorithm. Well, so it's kind of interesting. They are pushing up here in the Treasury now. And the 30-year is pushing up too. And they're getting up to those big orders. If they get through that big order in the 10-year, then the next spot we should be looking at is 131.16. But we'll see. We'll see if they can get up there. This move up has kind of been a real slow kind of squeeze move, yeah? Is that the hang loose? The hand sign? I thought they banned all the hand signs because of the whole OK sign thing. Ooh, look at that. Okay. I was about to say, like, didn't we just like come up like 3 or 4 ticks in the 10-year and we're only 4 ticks in the micros? Should be moving more than that. And finally somebody came in and said, okay, we're gonna take a few here. Like, that's a lot right there at one spot, 3864. When you consider that the largest price here in the 10-year micros is 185 at one spot 4. And somebody hit into it with 64 market orders. So that somebody seems like maybe somebody is really confident. I don't know. That's an aggressive order. Well, the S&P 500 pausing here a little bit, still short of the 4,600 that we've been looking for. There may be another extension further. Bitcoin is just getting absolutely demolished here, man. Bitcoin is getting absolutely. Is that why we have so many viewers today? Is because Bitcoin is crashing and they're like, well, Seth will know because he hates Bitcoin. The concern, you just remember, over the weekend in Bitcoin, liquidity is poor. And Bitcoin will often have late moves, late Friday or through the weekend. So to be at this spot and, you know, going into the weekend is a really bad setup for Bitcoin. And who knows how much margin and positions there are down below us. You know? I'm hearing some news about the Iranian talks now that might affect oil a little bit. They were disappointed that might boost oil a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. It's not reacting to it really too strongly, so. Okay. I'm interested to see if this guy that sold 64 contracts is going to make any money on it. That's a lot of, or maybe it was somebody bailing. Maybe they were just bailing at one spot 38. That's a real possibility, actually. Your charts on Tradeovate show that the markets are not active? What, the Bitcoin market? Hmm. My chart in Bitcoin is not, I don't know if it's just like not updating very often or what, but I'm not like seeing the price change too much. Let's see here. Where is it on my watch list here? Oh, there it is. 45, 590. If we wanted to watch that, I think we'd need to go and look on the exchange because the Bitcoin futures aren't actually trading that much. It's only 2,000 contracts daily volume in the Bitcoin futures. The S&P 500 is moving quite a bit. You look at the DOM over here. When they've been selling, it's been kind of dramatic, yeah. Okay. There's another little push. Surely they extend down to 4,600 now. Stop playing with me. I want to see the stops. Let's see it. Come on. If you don't watch very often, I love to see a good stop run. Even if it's against me, stop runs are just so much fun. They nasty, yeah. I'm telling you, if they break that low in the ES again, there's going to be some micros stopping out there, man. I can see the 700 lot there at 4602 now. This is why I need to move back to Rhythmic so that I can see all those further away. I missed like the full depth. We still got those big orders here in the treasuries, right? The treasuries just kind of been hanging out at the highs. It might be just chopping out. Well, they're kind of playing these games where it seems like they need to stir up liquidity in the ES at least. Darn, treasury came back there quite a bit. Well, I'm getting concerned that I'm going to have to go take the kids to school here in 30 minutes, so I might not be able to hang on to this position in the micros. I really want to have it a little bit of profit baked in if I was going to try and let something run. It's way too fast. Well, it's definitely just stirring people up, right? I'll tell you what, I'll put a contract there. Let's see if we get a lucky fill here quickly. Actually, no, you know what? Let's just one there. Hopefully somebody hits it. You're gonna need to be lucky to even get a fill on that at that price. Yeah, cause see, they're not all gonna pull. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We'll do the other one. Yeah, when I was a kid, everybody walked or took the bus too, but it's like really nasty out there right now. so so that's what it is for that. But then the baby is going to wake up too. So I'm still going to keep the stream going to 9 o'clock no matter what, so that we can watch things, and maybe even let's so for this one at 05 I'll take a contract. Come on. There we go. Okay, I took a contract at 05. So this one in the 10-year, or sorry, in the MES, I can just kind of let ride, right? There's a big iceberg there in the 10-year. There was an iceberg there in the 30. So is that another steepener? Could be a steepener spread trade that just happened there between the 10 and the 30. There's some big trades there. Okay, so now that got me out of that. Okay, cool. So now I don't have to worry about managing it, leaving any kind of positions giving me anxiety while I'm making sure the kids are getting ready for school, right? I'm really interested to know why there's a good number of people watching today, because we've been around, like 20 to 30 people for a really long time, and now all of a sudden we have 40 to 50 for no reason. I'd love to know if you're watching, and it was just YouTube happened to recommend it to you today. Then let me know. And if it was because something was going on and you've watched before and you kind of wanted to know what we're going to say, I'd love to know that too. Maybe it's because people are starting vacation. It could be. I don't know. The thing that's curious about the whole YouTube thing is that at the beginning of the year, we were getting really strong growth because of, GameStop and all that. I'm going to be really disappointed if this really extends, but I really can't keep that on. Is it because Trades by Matt is not streaming today? Hey, dude, that's I'm cool with that. If you regularly prefer to watch Matt, I don't blame you, because he does trade ES more, right? And he takes more exciting trades, but you got to remind him to be responsible about emphasizing that when you're making profits, that there is an equally large chance of losing money, and that there's a lot of risk involved in it. Yeah, because from the few streams of his that I've watched, I think he's really open, just like I am. And, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think he realizes that a lot of what he's doing is taking on a lot of risk. Okay. But he had a video with, oh my gosh, what is the guy's name? What is the guy's name? You know what I'm talking about? I really should have a name for it. I should. Daniel Inskeep. Yes, that's right. Jack Black. Yeah, he made a video with Daniel Inskeep, and I don't think that Matt did anything wrong, but I don't think that Daniel Inskeep completely understands the moral and even in some cases regulatory obligations that we have to fully inform people of the risk that they're taking on. I'm really worried that people are going to watch that video and be like, oh yeah, I can just go and start trading 5 NQ contracts and make $10,000 and that can be my job, because it's no. You know what? Why do you think he covers the shop art? Well, maybe you should tell him to do that. I that's what I have right now, right? You can it's kind of hard to see, because the letters are kind of light, but you can, if you zoom in on it, you can see the first 2 letters of the account. So if it starts with NT something something something, then that means that it's a real one. No. So somebody was accusing him of doing that, of having a really bad day and then deleting the video, and I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen. So I think what he's doing is he started doing what I did. He started doing it after I started doing it, and I started doing it because Harris Heller was doing it. But basically what you do is there's a setting in the YouTube live stream settings here where you can come in and say, after the video is done, make it private. It's not there for some reason. I forget where it is. Is it in stream settings? Yeah, it's in here. Unlist live replay once stream ends. So the video automatically goes into a playlist and you can watch it from the playlist, but it won't be like advertised to you. So here's what you do. We'll go to his channel. Since we got Matt viewers here. So we're friends. We're all friends. I have nothing against him. I wouldn't trade the way he trades, but okay, and you see how he has this playlist past live streams? It's like right at the top on his video, right? Then you'll find them. But if you go back over here and you say, you go to videos, oh, actually, maybe he's not doing it. Maybe he's not doing it. He has them all listed. If you go to my channel, let's go to my channel. Your channel. Did he ban all your comments? You know what, Captain Price, though? You're just trying to troll everybody. I don't appreciate it. I really don't. Okay, if you go to my videos, you see how like the current live shows up, but none of the other ones do. I should probably do something about these too, because I don't necessarily want these ones to be recommended. I should just make a second channel for that kind of content, for the TikToks reposted. Of course. He's pretty transparent. You gotta understand, guys, like, retail day trading on futures is not really a very realistic career. A lot of what we're doing is just taking on risk, which means that you have a high chance of coming into high volatility and blowing up. Yeah, but so hold on though, because I don't feel like that people understand this, and I don't feel like that I've done a good job at explaining it to people. Because when I explain it to you guys, like, what I expect you to do is like, yes, Seth, you're so right. Like, people don't understand. That was such a good explanation of this, like you do sometimes when I explain like order flow stuff and everything. But when I try to explain the risk thing, I don't get that. Maybe part of it is because I just don't understand it as well as I could. I feel like that there's some sort of advanced knowledge on it that I'm not finding. But here's the deal. What is inherently wrong about risking $3,000 to make $1,000? What's inherently wrong with that? The stats kind of wash out anyways, right? Like, if I just go in and I take random trades in the S&P 500 and I have my target be 3 times, or my stop be 3 times my target, then I'm just going to get a really high win rate, right? I'm going to get like an 80% win rate, okay? And I'll probably still break even, but I'll win more often, and there might be some advantages to that, right? So what's inherently wrong with it? I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with it, but there is a really big disadvantage to that trade. There's two big disadvantages to that trade. Number one, you will not be very well practiced in dealing with the losses or with the volatile markets. And so your chances of blowing up when things get rough are higher because you just don't have practice dealing with it, right? Problem number two is that your strategy will have fat tails, which means that you'll tend to make money. You'll tend to make money like this. Can't see that very well. Can you see that? You'll tend to make money, and then all in one day it'll be like, and it'll do the same thing, right? It's not necessarily wrong. It's a really big disadvantage, though, that a lot of the people that trade like that don't realize that they're setting themselves up for that. They do this and they think, oh man, I'm such a great trader. You go and you put it on YouTube, everybody's like, oh man, they're such a good trader. And then when this happens, everybody just kind of doesn't remember it. I mean, look, I've had bad blow-ups too, right? I try to make more on my winners than I am on my losers, but I still get really bad drawdowns, right? And people on YouTube just never say anything. It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares about me, guys. Anyways. So that's what I would have to say to share with you. If you watch that stream, the thing that I would think would be the most useful, or if you watch that Daniel Inskeep video, because I think that Matt understands that, but I don't think that Daniel Inskeep does. Am I wrong? Yeah, that's the video I'm talking about, Captain Price. Contacted another high viewers YouTuber, and the title was like Pro Trader versus Amateur Trader. Yeah, I agree. But that's why I'm saying I don't know if it was Matt, right? If I was talking to Daniel Inskeep, listen, you guys, you go and you tell Daniel to come and see me, and I'll show him a different approach, okay? Daniel, you did a couple of irresponsible things in that video. You should have at the very beginning a really big disclaimer. You need to have one of these. Oh no, wait, that's not it. I don't have it without. I don't want to play the whole video, but at the beginning of my stream, it reads out: futures trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. That needs to be on the video. Like, you straight up have a legal obligation to put that in the video, Daniel, and you didn't put it. And probably nobody's going to come in and say anything or sue you over it or anything, but you should probably put it in there. Like, that's the moral thing to do. Oh, hey, did they trade through the 3,500? Good deal. Hey, I could have kept that one on. It's okay. It's okay. Were you a desk trader previously? No, but I did work for a firm. Daniel Inskeep. So Daniel Inskeep, he actually has a really cool channel, actually, and it's a big channel. It's basically like an anti-guru channel. It's like he will look at things to try and make money, and he'll do them and make a video about it. And so he's made videos about trading before, trading futures, and when he does it, is like dismal. Like, if you watch the video that he made with Matt made like $1,600, and Daniel had this period of losing where it was just loss, days where he took tons and tons of trades and they were like largely losers and that sort of a thing, right? Which I've done before. Like, I know why it happens. That's why I was like, hey, come talk to me, Daniel, and I'll show you a different way of doing it. That might, I'm not saying that you're going to make money from it, but I think it will help you improve in the short term, at least. Actually, I just tell you guys right now, because it's really simple. At the beginning of the day, write down a list of what you think the most dominant flows are going to be for the day. So like today, what's the most dominant flow? The thing that we think is going to make orders come in today is gamma hedging, right? Large amounts of gamma expiring today. That's the biggest flow that we're going to see. Now, another flow that we ended up seeing, ended up being really dominant in the treasuries, at least for us, but that I didn't have written down initially was risk-off sentiment from equity indexes falling. So that ended up being the most dominant factor in the treasuries, at least for now, pushing us up there, right? So, another one that I will point out to you is that a lot of currencies will move on Fridays because the banks want to move their money before the weekend. Okay, so these are all flows, and then you can watch the markets go and see how that matches up with your predictions of what the dominant flows were going to be for the day, and you can use that to make your decisions. Right? Try that, because when you start taking advantage of informational inefficiency, there's a lot more informational inefficiency out there available for you than there is technical statistical inefficiency. Yeah. What's wrong with this market today? You know what? If this market closes below 4,600 today, I don't think that it would be like a huge deal. Even if they got below 40, even if they got below 45.50. It could still just like be erased next week. But the market has been struggling here. There has been more weakness, and it's been a lot more persistent than anticipated for me. So I do think that the market is a little bit concerned about a first or second quarter slowdown. Okay, guys. So I'm going to keep the stream going. I'm sure that some of you guys will probably skip out. I will be back later, but so I can answer more questions. But if you do skip out, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you catch me whenever I'm live, and especially the one-off videos, because I got some really, really useful one-off videos coming for you guys. Okay? But I will be back, but I'm going to go check on the kids, all right? All right, we're back. Oh, we still got a decent number of people. How you guys doing? It is super cold out there, by the way. So where are we at? Oh, we lost all of our profits. That's okay. You know what? Well, we didn't lose all of our profits, but basically we shouldn't have left that one contract on. That's okay. Here, try that. Here you go. I got the baby here with me. You say something into the microphone? This is a nice little dump. So how low did they get? Oh, it almost turned like almost exactly when I left. That's funny. I should have put a stop at like right at 4,600, huh? But see, this is exactly also though why I really was like I can't keep a position on in the 10-year, right? And I took it off. I kind of wonder now from here, can they extend above 1.4 or not? Overall, it was pretty good. By the way, thank you guys for the likes. 25 likes today. That's a lot. Well, I don't think that we can completely... we may not be 100% in the clear, right? There may be later in the day some selling. And Bitcoin, let's see here. What did Bitcoin do? Because I think Bitcoin seems to be a big part of this, right? Well, they pushed below 4,600. There wasn't like super panic. Yeah, I mean, probably still like 4,600 is like when everybody started paying attention to it. 4,500 is when they're going to be like panicking, right? I'd still say Bitcoin does not look like a good spot for the weekend, but we'll see. That might be the worst it gets for all we know. 6J is falling pretty hard, by the way. If I wasn't watching a kid here, I think that I would probably be trying to get long one spot, 395. But we got this one up here, right? So hopefully that works out for us. Do you want that? You want the Pop-Tart? Maybe. You're not sure? I wish you could see it. He does this shrug thing. He's like... Massive volumes too, so whoever wanted to buy CL got their fills big. Is CL bouncing hard there? Yeah, because I remember it was like dipping just below 30 when I walked away here, right? Yeah. I had to step away at exactly the wrong time, guys. You gonna say something now? Say something. Here, I'll do this. Take this out. Tickle, 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 tickle. Tickle, 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 tickle. Tickle, tickle. Tickle, 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 tickle. No, I'm terrified about when they become teenagers. So like here's the thing. This is kind of funny. So I have 3 step kids. This is my only one. I got 3 step kids. The oldest is a boy, and he is gonna be in 9th grade next year. And then I got 2 girls. So like, I'm worried about obviously about what the girls getting attention when they're that age, you know what I mean, when they're teenagers. But I'm actually more worried about the boy because he is already 5'11". So he's gonna be tall. The girls are gonna, he kind of has reddish hair. I think the girls are gonna like him, and I don't really think that he has the the social skills and awareness to deal with that well. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that one. What are you going to take your food and go somewhere else? Are you going to go and mess up with all of the books? Or maybe you could get the level that's on the floor there. Yeah. Well, I will keep going until the top of the hour. We'll just deal with him. There are always challenges, yeah. Well, there's lots of other things going on, but I'll wait a little bit before I tell you guys about that. After Christmas. Christmas this year isn't really Christmas for me. All the fun stuff is happening after that. Okay, no. Do not touch my mouse, please. You might click something. And this still would accept orders. Yeah, let's turn that off. Yeah. Oh, you're a night shifter? Well, yeah, you should get to sleep. COVID doesn't. Yeah, well, now this one, I don't know what's going to happen with this one either, because he doesn't get as much interaction with other children his age as you should, you know? Of course, he has the other kids, but it's just not the same, you know what I mean? The kids grown. Grown. It sounds like we're putting them in test tubes and stuff. Now, the kids born during the pandemic are going to be a unique set of people, because they're going to have grown up as babies with their parents, both of their parents home all day, you know? So something that his name is Asher, something that Asher likes to do here is to push the chair when I'm sitting in it. So much fallout. Yeah, I don't think that everybody considered the negative health implications of like the lockdowns and everything, but I also kind of feel, or I've been seeing some evidence that kind of suggests that in some respects lockdowns and so forth were pushed harder than they should have been to coerce people into getting the vaccines when they were out. So, well, the E-mini is bouncing higher. This would be super fun. Should I say super fun? Yeah, this will be super fun if the S&P 500 ends up with like a 100-point rally today. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Now I have nowhere to sit. Now where am I going to sit? You don't know. Here. You sit there. Now, well, so let's check here on Twitter. If there was any key news we missed while I was out. Not really. I think that everything that's going on right now is just options playing out. I'm so tempted. I really want to be long one spot 4. It's okay. You go. You take the trade for me, and. Man, look at ES there. This is turning into a real squeeze. They bought ARK? What? The insanity goes on. Well, I think that we shouldn't rule out 4,700 with the way this is going. But now that the child has stole my chair, I think it is time for me to shut things down. So I will see you guys next week. I'm going to be here up until Christmas. I won't stream between Christmas and New Year's, though. Okay. So I will see you guys on Monday. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.